Hello. Hello. Hello, how are y'all? How y'all doing? Great sunrise to you all. Great sunrise to you all. Great sunrise to you all. Hey, today I'm doing the Great Commission for the AfriKing and the AfriQueen. But this is more of a message to the AfriKing. I need to get my head right. Some African sounds right now. So excuse me for a moment. If the damn right. Okay. So Facebook like to handle anything else from acting in accordance with any video you might be doing with Facebook. So I'm gonna put the sounds on pause. It was a great attempt. Yes, peace. Peace, Queen. That's you just go type in African choir and you find that kind of sound anywhere, you know. Spotify. It's not on Spotify though, that's on a music download app. Yeah. So my message today is simply to the AfriKing that he must uplift and he must uplift his AfriQueen. See, I don't call melanated people Africans because we must know that we have come from royal lineage. We come from royal lineage. So I don't call you African American or African woman or African man. I call you AfriKing and the AfriQueen. Because when we were in tribing and we were building nations upon nations and having a village upon building villages upon village, you know, living in villages amongst each other, whether we were doing that or we were building empires and ruling kingdoms, we were leading. Okay? Try to get this right. We were leaders. So for the AfriKing, his mission, the Great Commission, is for the AfriKing. His mission is to always put and uplift his AfriQueen on a very high pedestal and raise her up, because the fall of the AfriKing and the AfriQueen is the fall, peace Thomas, is the fall of the woman. We know this. The Euro man knows this. The Euro man knows this, that the fall of the AfriQueen is the fall of her nation. It is the fall of her nation. The fall of the AfriQueen is the fall of her nation. And who is her nation? All of her children. Not which passed through her, but everyone. Because She's the mother of civilization. She created life. She's the creator of life. The AfriQueen woman. She's the creator of life. So our job as AfriKings is to always put our queens on a pedestal. Now, as a king and as a leader, you do and must also know this, that your mission, the great commission for you is to lead her. Now, we fall behind, or we come down is a better word. We come down to lift her up. We must. AfriKings, we must come down from our hierarchy, our throne. We must come down from our kingship, from our lordship, to raise up the AfriQueen woman. Because if they see the man who has subjected himself to raising up a woman in the patriarchal society, if they see a man, because every culture is absolutely backwards. Every culture is absolutely backwards in this recognition. That is the recognition of that the woman is the birth of a nation. The woman is the birth of a nation, not the man. The woman is the birth of a nation. So we must, in every culture, and you look at the women are domineering to the male. The women are docile. The women are docile and domineering to the male, bowing at his every grace. And a woman, an AfriQueen woman, will not respect the man who is dominating every aspect of her life, her existence. She's not going to respect, or I would say this, she's not going to truly, passionately love that man from a passionate place. She can't, because she's in fear. She can't love from a passionate place because of being in fear of his rulership, his kingship, his lordship over her. So she cannot love him from a very passionate place where she's free. Loving passionately comes from a place of freedom. You see, you allow that woman, that queen, that AfriQueen, to open herself up to you vulnerably to love you. And it's not being weak. It is actually being strong. It's not being weak, it's being strong. For that woman considers that as a strong suit in her eyes, to allow herself to passionately, freely love her king and allow him to rule over her mind, over her life, over her situation. So the Great Commission is for the AfriKing to notice this, recognize this, and realize this, that we must come down from our lordship, knowing that we are gods, knowing that we are kings, knowing that we are of the high rank. We are of the high rank. Are you understanding? We cannot But we cannot be high up on the rank if we keep our foot on the neck of our AfriQueen. Are you hearing me? So our mission is to raise our AfriQueen woman up, showing showing the world that this is our God. When we raise her up, in their eyes, they look at her. In their eyes, in the eyes of other cultures and societies, in the Euro man, he's gonna look at you as a weak symbol, king. He's gonna look at you as a weak symbol. He's going to look at you as a weak symbol. What man lowers himself for his woman? He's supposed to be the leader. He's supposed to be the one ruling. He's supposed to be the leader of the house. He's a king. What is he doing? Putting her up there. Well, they don't want you to know this, and they allow you to not want this by painting pictures and images of the family out there, and it's always the man looking like the very head, which should be, but never in public. You see, this is where they mess up. It should be. You understand what I'm saying? In public, AfriKing, in public, you AfriKing, you ought to raise up your woman so that they can see her and not you. But they feel you. This is a difference. They feel your presence. If I'm walking, into a lion's den, and the lioness is out in front of the pack, but her lion, her king, is behind her, just because she's in front of the pack doesn't mean I don't recognize her man, her king over there 10 feet away. It doesn't mean I don't recognize that beast, that animal over there, that fierce, ferocious, animal, that being. It's like, yo, who? Like, you understand what I'm saying? So in public, this is the backwards thing. In public, our women are quiet. Our women are hushed. Our women are not dumbed down, but lowered for the continuation of this patriarchal mindset. Knowing that the woman is the birth of a nation. The woman is the birth of a nation. Do you understand? The woman is the birth of a nation. And society recognizes this. They recognize this. So they paint you this picture and this image of families out there. And it's always the man with the woman and the two kids. And they're happy. And so AfriQueen woman don't want no more than 2 kids herself. My mama had 8 kids. I desire to have a lot of kids, because when you realize the reverse psychology they put on us, you'll realize what your true nature is, you AfriKing. You'll realize what your true nature is. Your true nature is to breed. Your true nature is to be a protector. Your true nature is to be a provider. But your true nature is to be with your other half, the other part of you, so you can create, because that's what you are as God. You can create. See, God is a creator, and you and your woman together make God, and y'all are creating. You together with your woman create. And everything in nature creates. It is a continuation of creation. Everything in nature is a continuation of creation. Do you understand? It never stops creating. Nature never stops creating. Life. Nature is always creating life. And so they have simulated a world for us to look at and live in, and took our minds away from nature, from the natural way of who we naturally are. And the science and the mathematics behind this is simple. If we continue to breed and give life to our own with our own kind, eventually they will be non-existent. That's just basic science and math. And not even with our own kind. If we breed with anybody else, We will continue to make babies that look like us. That's just the simple math and science behind it. But let's not go into that part of the download. Let's stick to what our mission, our great commission of AfriKing, his job is, his mission. This is the great commission of the AfriKing, meaning there is no other reason for you to be here. Literally, your only reason for existence, AfriKing, is to build up that woman, because she's the birth of a nation. And you build her up by understanding your power, knowing you are powerful. You understand your power, but you don't use your power. You don't throw your power over the mind of that woman to allow her to love you so freely, passionately, from a non-fearful place. But she subjects herself to you. She's like, yo, this is a man I would open myself up vulnerably for and give him me. Because she's the creation, she's the birth of a nation, and she creates worlds. Through her, she creates worlds. And it's an honor, be honest with you. It should be an honor in our mindset, AfriKing. It should be an honor for us to want to lay with a woman and give her that seed, so that through her, our lineage can be passed on. This is why animals fight. Why do you think animals fight during mating season? Two males. For the right. They fight for the right to pass on that gene. That woman, like, the female animal or the female lioness, she's like, I don't want the weak man. I want the strong man. And they have to fight it out for the strong one, because the strong one comes the dominant gene, more stronger gene. And they fight for the right because they realize it's an honor to pass on their lineage. It's an honor to pass on their lineage. And we ought to be thinking in that same manner, that it should be an honor to lay with a woman and give her me. Give her me and create more of me in this world. Create more of me's in this world. Because she's the birth of a nation. She's the true birth of a nation. She's the true creation of life. Now we understand, without the seed planted from the man, there could be no life. Without the seed planted from the man, there could be no life. The man gives the woman the seed. But the woman holds the essence of life, all in her, all through her. See, all that man could do is pass on her seed. All that man could do is pass her that seed. The woman creates that life. The AfriQueen creates that life. It is through her that life is formed. And it's going to be through her mind how that life comes out formed, because she passes on thought to that creation. It's going to be through her, the way she even eats. It's going to be the way that she sleeps. It has a lot to do with biology. It's going to be through the way that she eats, sleep, think. How that baby is formed in her womb. She is creating that baby through the thoughts of her mind. She is creating that life through the thoughts of her mind. That woman is. And she is feeding that baby that life through what she gives it. Not just food, but energy. She's creating that baby through what she gives it, through energy, people, food. You understand? Environment. With the sun, out in the elements. She's giving that baby life. She's creating life inside that baby. But the great commission of the AfriKing is this. He must realize that he must come down from this patriarchal mindset, thinking that he's ruler over his woman. He must come down from this patriarchal mindset because society has turned us away from nature. And when you look at nature, nature is a woman. Nature is a woman because nature is giving life. Everywhere you look at, nature is creating. Nature is creating and nurturing. See, a woman can nurture. A man cannot nurture. A man cannot nurture. Only a woman can nurture, and nurturing is nurturing. And a woman, natural ability is a nurturer. A woman's natural ability is to be a nurturer. That's what she is naturally. All the way broken down to the finite. The woman is a nurturer. And you get that from nature. So that tells me nature is the woman. Nature is a woman because nature nurtures us. We are nurtured by nature. The AfriKing Great Commission. Your mission is to come down to raise that woman up. And this is done more so in public than you do behind closed doors. You see, in closed doors, that woman ought to respect you more. Why? Because you're behind closed doors and you can do anything you want to her behind closed doors, right? I'm not saying abuse your woman because I don't believe in it. I don't believe in you need to smack your woman around to get her to feel you and hear you. But that woman ought to have a mindset to respect you more inside your home. And she will only respect you when you come home, inside your home. She will respect you when you respect her. When you respect her out in public. When you raise her up. When you show the world who she is. See, we must, as AfriKings, show the world who this woman is. Who she truly is. We must show the world who this woman truly is. Are you understanding? Because to live in a society that has painted this picture and twisted it so in such a way that we think that ruling a woman is to be dominating over that woman. We think ruling a woman is to be to dominate that woman. And that actually keeps you from progressing forward as a union. That keeps you from progressing forward as a union. Your job isn't to dominate that woman. Your job is to lift that woman. But you must understand, in this backwards ass society where we are living in a patriarchal society, you must understand, AfriKing, that you must come down from that pedestal that you've been placed on. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're an AfriKing, you have not been placed on any pedestal, and the only pedestal you will be placed on is going to be by your AfriQueen. That's the only pedestal the AfriKing is going to be raised up on. And it's going to be done by the work of his woman. Because nobody else puts you up there. Nobody else puts the AfriKing on a pedestal. Nobody else. Except for your own woman. But you turn around and take on the mindset of your oppressor. And you think that it is a privilege to be feared. It's a privilege to be the dominating one in this unionship. It's a privilege, right? You look at it as a right. I'm the man. It's a right. This is my right. I'm the man. I'm the leader. I'm the head of the house. I'm going da 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 da. You gonna listen to me. And that woman usually almost never have no respect for a man who turns around and casts his power over her whole being to where she cannot love from a passionate place. And the only place that she can love truly from a passionate place is when she's with her girlfriends and she can speak out. You see, you don't allow that woman to speak out because you took it on the mind of your oppressor, AfriKing. And so you keep your woman docile, hushed. You keep her quiet from being a strong woman out in public, allowing the public to see your queen, being that one you put up on a pedestal. You ought to be looking up to her when you're out in public. You ought to be putting her up in front. You ought to be so admiring her. You ought to be so in love with this woman that when they see your family, they see her, but they feel you. They should not see you. They should feel you. And they should feel you even when you're not with her. When they see her. When they see her, they ought to feel you when you're not with her. Because that's how much of power, that's how much power you pass on to her. That's how much power of yourself you give to her. When you relinquish your power and give it to her to raise her up, you are giving her your power. And so therefore, when you're not with her, they still feel your presence. They still feel your presence because you've relinquished your power to raise her up. You've come down off of your throne to pull your woman up there where you're at in power, in equal power. There is a balance. There is a unbalance in a lot of relationships. There's an imbalance. There's no balance. There's an unbalance in a lot of relationships because the man yields all the power, not understanding that he must come down to raise his woman up where he's at, ascended, so that they can be equal in power, equally balanced in power. But you took it on the mind of your oppressor, AfriKing. And you giving your woman a position of lower status. When in nature, it is a privilege and a right to be with a woman. Nature shows you this. To pass on that lineage. Them two male animals must fight for that right. They must fight for that right. They have to fight to pass on their lineage to that woman. They have to fight to be with that woman. You understand? For a woman to subject herself to you out of you yielding way too much power is not done out of passionate love. It's done out of fear. Not that you will hurt her. Not that you will hurt her, harm her. Not that you would harm her with your fist, but that you will hurt her heart. And a lot of women feel that they must subject themselves to their man because he can easily just walk out of their life. So she's in fear of you walking out on her because she won't subject herself to you. But if she subjects herself to you, then she feels she can hold on to you a little bit more longer. And you cast this over her mind. You don't even understand. You don't even know that you wave this blanket of fear over your woman's mind. The power that you can get up and go at any given moment. You can just walk and disappear out of her life. This woman who is giving you her heart, her mind, her being, her all. And she feels like I must subject myself to the man because I love him, and because I love him, he could, I don't want to see him go. Because I love him, I don't want to see him go. I don't want him to go. Because I love this man. And so the woman is in fear. She's not loving you passionately. Because every time she gives herself to you, she's thinking you could be giving yourself to somebody else. She's thinking thoughts like you could be giving yourself to somebody else, or you can give yourself to somebody else. And she wouldn't want that. She wants you for herself. She wants you for herself. You understand? This woman wants to love from a free place. AfriQueen wants to love from a very free place. You know why? Because that's what she is. That's what nature is. That's what nature is. Nature is giving. Nature is all giving. And when you look at nature being all giving, that's love. For someone to just give themselves to you over and over and over and over again. But look what happens when we destroy nature. Look at the results we get back when we destroy nature. When we destroy nature, look at the results we get back. We get back toxic water. We get back toxic food. We get back toxic environment. We get back toxic oxygen. We get back acidic rain. We get back all this kind of stuff when we destroy nature. And the same is true for the woman. Because the woman is nature. Nature is giving. Giving is loving. To give is to love, and to be giving all of who you are, to be giving all that you have, which nature does. Nature does nothing but give. Nature gives, 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 gives. And nature gives all of herself. Nature gives everything that she is and everything that she has, nature gives to us. But we must give back to nature by taking care of her. And when we don't take care of nature, look at the results we get now. Look at the results from nature and what we have. Look at the toxic waters and the toxic food that we are indulging in because we not giving back to nature. We destroy nature. And the same goes as a woman who is all loving, all giving, like nature. When all we do is take from that woman. All we do is take from her giving. You understand? This weakens the woman. And then the results we get is toxic. We get toxicity. We get a toxic relationship. Because we've not given. See, we must give up as much as of ourselves, AfriKing, as the AfriQueen does for us. We must give up as much of ourselves. You see, her being the birth of a nation and the creation of life, she gives all. And so then we must turn around and then give her all of who we are. And how do we do that? Relinquishing that power. We come down from that false sense of power. We come down from that false sense of power. And we pass on to our woman the same power. Why? Because if we're power, we don't actually lose it. If we men who are powerful, we don't, in our relationship, we don't lose power. We don't lose power. We come, you ever, let me give you an example. It's like I was watching an old clip of an Olympic race. It was an old clip of an Olympic race. And this one dude, it was this one dude who was faster than the others, right? And he was winning the race. This one dude was winning the race. And he was black. I'm not saying this for any purpose, but just for reference, right? This guy was winning in the Olympics. This is either it was Olympics or just a regular track race. I can't remember if it was the Olympics. But he was on his way to win gold. That guy was about to win gold. And right before he got to the finish line, he turned around and just happened to see one of the other guys cramp up. This guy did not cross the finish line. He turned and went and got that guy who was cramping, couldn't walk, couldn't run. He went and got that other guy, and they ran across the finish line, and they crossed that finish line together. You see, that man did not relinquish his power. Let me say this. He relinquished his place for the equal balance of power, or for the equal balance of winning. This man did not lose the race, but he actually won the race because they finished together. So both men crossed the finish line together. And this is winning. When you know how powerful you are, know how fast you are, but yet you turn around and you don't lose power because you relinquish your place of power. You don't lose power because you relinquish your place of power. You understand? You don't lose power. You don't lose power because you relinquish your place. You gain power. Because two, having equal balance of power makes a more powerful couple. Makes a more powerful unionship. Makes a more powerful union. And so the AfriKing must know that this is his mission, his great commission. We must escape this reality that has been passed upon us. We must escape this reality that has been given down to us and made us realize that, and make us think that we are powerful. Now in this society, in any society you go in, AfriKing, I'm gonna be straight up. You don't hold the balance of power, because it's been set up against you. Because they understand that your woman, your queen, your AfriQueen, is the birth of a nation. And to put you up on a pedestal is to knock themselves down. Extinguish themselves out of the picture. That's not what they want. They don't want to extinguish themselves from the reality of what you can do. They don't want to extinguish themselves from the reality of what you could actually biologically do to them. Don't do that. What they want to do is keep you and your queen at the bottom of the rung. At the very bottom of the rung. But you can shift and you can change that. You could shift and you could change that paradigm. You could change that. You change that by not putting yourself over your woman. And I say this, more so in public. The world must see you raising your woman up. You falling behind to put her up. The woman must see you fall behind to raise your woman up. Now, again, like I said, if I'm walking into a lion's den and I see the lioness first, but her lion, her king, is 2 or 3 feet away from her, just because she's out in front doesn't mean I don't feel the power of her king. I'm not walking in no lion's den. You know, you understand what I'm saying? But if I'm walking into a lion's den and I'm met by the queen of the lions, the lioness, I'm met by the lioness, but her king is 2, 3, 5 feet away, do I not feel the power of her king? Of course I do. And guess what? Away from her king, I still feel the power of that lioness. When she's by herself, I feel the power of that lioness. I know not to mess with her, because I know not only is she I know not to mess with her, not because she can go get her king on you, but because she has the same threat as her king. She holds the same threat as her king. She holds the same threatening power as her king. So I respect her because her king has given her his power. Her king has given her his mind. Her king has given her his rulership authority. Her king has given her that strength. That strength. And so I am afraid of that lioness, even by herself. Because I know it is not because her king is in a distance somewhere, but it's because I know she holds the power of her king. She holds the power of her king. And this is what it means to give yourself up for your queen. That you give your queen that kind of power you yield also, king, AfriKing. That your queen can pick up on that power because you come down and you raise her up, and now you're equally balanced in power. And so now when I walk into a lion's den, I may just see a lonely lioness, but I still feel afraid because this lioness has the same power of her king. It could harm me just as much as her king could, if not worse. I don't want nothing to do with anything that powerful. You understand? And so shall the reverse of society come about. So shall the reverse of society come about. How? When the AfriKing raises up his woman. Then will it be that this society, when they see the king, when they see the AfriKing raising up his woman, putting her in position, putting her up in power, making him and her equally balanced in power, then you become a natural born threat to society. You become a natural born threat to society. Why? Because they recognize that if the AfriQueen woman finds her rightful mind, getting back to her rightful place, then it's the end of civilization as we know it. This is simple mathematics. If you just do the math, this would be simple mathematics. If you could do the math, this would be the end of this. That woman could end civilization. That man could end civilization and create much of themselves and every other person and every other being. We could create us. But everybody can create us, but we can create everybody. This is facts. This is scientific fact. That the black gene is the dominating gene. You understand what I'm saying? It's the dominating gene. We have a baby with any other race. That baby will come out, I don't care what race you have that baby with. that baby will come out a little bit more darker than it would have been if it was with one of their own kind. There would be brown people all over the place. Brown and black people. I've seen white women who have babies with black men, and babies is blacker than me. Yeah. I've seen white women who have black men, and their babies are blacker than me. Like black. Like, yo, how you get a black ass kid like that? The black gene is the dominating gene. But if the AfriKing raises his woman up back to her rightful place, then society knows what could happen. And so they created and painted a picture of a false sense of men being this patriarchal society. Men is the ruler, the leaders. Yeah, we have a place of power, but not over our queen. Not under our queen, but with our queen. We have a place of power. It is with our queen. This is the balance of God. God is both male and female, yin and yang, energy. This is the balance. Male and female energy. Male and female God. How can you create life if not for the other half of you? You need that other half. You need that other half. That's your balance. Listen, we must come to the agreements that any nation and any civilization or any nation, I would say, is nothing without the womb man, the one who holds the woman, the womb. But I say this, that any nation, especially AfriKings and AfriQueens, you must realize that your woman is the birth of civilization. She's the birth of civilization. She's the birth of civilization. And nations are going to come through her. The Great Commission for the AfriKing is to put his woman on that pedestal. Because he don't lose power stepping down out of his place. He balances the power, doubling it. He doubles the power. He doesn't lose power stepping down out of his place. He doubles the power. Instead of one being powerful and one being down here, he comes down and say, yo, I know who I am. I know my power. So he comes down, raises her up, and it equals the balance of power. Now there's double power. There's double trouble. It's double trouble. There's a balance now. There's a balance, and there's a balance, and there is double power. It creates a great balance of power. That woman will not love you freely, passionately, if you are like this all the time with her. Because she's not in fear that if she doesn't subject herself to you, she's not in fear that you will hurt her physically. She's in fear that you will hurt her heart emotionally, spiritually. You will hurt her spirit. You will hurt her heart. And that woman is all giving. That woman is all loving, because that woman is nature. That woman is a nurturer. And because she is a nurturer, she's all giving, like nature is all giving. Nature is all giving. Nature is nurturing. Nature is all giving. Nature is nurturing. And nature does nothing but give. And so does that woman. She's a giver. She's a natural born giver. When she lays down to have sex with you, she's giving. When she lays down to have sex with you, she's giving. When she lays down to give birth, she's giving. You understand? When she is breastfeeding that baby, she's giving. When she is tending to the needs and the boo-boos of that child, she's giving. She's a nurturer, naturally. A natural-born nurturer, because she is nature. She is nature. And nature is giving. But we AfriKings, we must not make our home, our earth, our woman, we must not make her toxic to where she gives us back toxicity. She gives us back toxic food. She gives us back toxic thought. She gives us back toxic sex. She gives us back toxic energy. We must be able to give back to her so she doesn't give back toxicity. You see, when man corrupted nature, what do we get back? Toxicity. In our foods, in our water, in our air, we get back toxicity. If we want to get back what the woman has to give to us, then we must give to her. How do we get back good fruit? By sowing good seed. Even the Bible talks about that. Those who bear good seed, good fruit. A tree, a tree bears good fruit. But how does a tree bear good fruit? Planting good seed. That tea was good. I wasn't gonna let it go cold on y'all today like I do all the time. So we must plant good seed in our woman. Good thoughts, good love. This is how we give, so that we can get from who is the natural born giver. See, we give by planting good seed, good thoughts, good words, good building her up, good encouragement, uplifting her, raising her up, seeing her as our equal. In the AfriKing and AfriQueen society, she is our equal, but even she's a little bit more than that. She's a tad bit more than just our equal. She's our life. She's our life. So we give just a little bit more, because she's our life. And like in nature, it's a privilege to be with a woman and pass on that gene. Those animals, when you see two lions fighting, or when you see, well, you won't see two lions fighting to mate because one lion owns the pride, right? But in nature, when you see like two bears fighting during mating season, it's to pass on that gene, because they know that it is a privilege to pass on that gene. They know that it is a privilege to be with that woman and pass on their lineage, to continue their lineage. And so they have to fight it out. They have to fight it out. It's a beautiful thing to give to this queen. It should be in our minds, AfriKing. It should be a beautiful thing to be like, yo, I love you like I don't even know, crazy. Like I love you like that. Like I just want to give all of myself to you. I want to bow at your feet. I just want to bow to you. I bow to you. Right? I serve you. I bow to you. You understand? I bow to my queen. Like literally bowing to your queen, kissing her feet, because it's a privilege to be with that woman. It's the privilege to look at that woman and know that she's the giver of life, and you get to plant your seed inside her, because she chooses who gets to plant their seed. You could be a lonely ass man, never reproducing yourself. You could be a man out here never reproducing yourself, because it's up to that woman. It's up to that woman to allow you to plant your seed in her. You could be a man out here and you carry all this seed but never got nowhere to plant it. And so it's a privilege for when that woman opens herself up to you and gives herself to you. It's a privilege. And we should see it as such. We should see it as such. A privilege. To be like, yes, I want to give you me. But she's saying, yes, give yourself to me. And I will give you more of what you are. You see, in nature, passing on that gene is for the purpose of keeping the stronger gene alive. The male who wins the fight is the stronger of the two. So they keep the stronger gene alive. We find it a privilege, or should find it a privilege, to want to, if we see ourselves as men, as kings, then it is a privilege to breed with a woman and pass on royal blood. Having babies shouldn't just be for the purpose of having babies. But having babies should be the purpose of you looking it through the lens of, I'm passing on royal blood. I'm passing on my lineage. And what a privilege that this woman has given herself to me, allow me into her, open herself to me, and allowed me to give her my seed so that she could bear and breathe the life the energy that I am created in. So she could continue to breathe the life that I am. So she could continue to breathe the bloodline of my genealogy, so that she could continue to breathe my kind and my race, my species, so that she could continue to breathe my likeness. You see, the child is made in the image and likeness of its creator. God. Because that's God. That's God. The mom and the dad. That's God. Okay? Now, I'm getting up out of here. I got a full day ahead. But I appreciate you. I say I love me. Because you know, when I say I love me, it means I love you. Because you are me. I am you. There is no separation. There is only one. There is no separation. Two come together makes one. We are one. And so when I say I love me, I'm just saying I love you. But to say you is to separate us. So if you see me, say I love me. If you see me, say I love me. Because then I know you truly love me. Because you can't love if love is not in you. And love must be in you to really love me. So, I love me.